Well, good morning. My name is Brent. The channel is Cascade Homebrewing. I usually homebrewing around beer. I'm doing something different today. Coffee. So it's Sunday morning. Usually Sunday, if I need to get up early, set an alarm, one of the first things I want to get is coffee. Well, today I set an alarm to get up for coffee. So I'm taking part in a James Hoffmann event for decaf coffee. Yeah, that's right. I'm drinking some decaf coffee. So what I've got here is 4 different coffees. The first one is just a regular coffee. It's not decaffeinated. The other 3, these all are the exact same beans, and these are decaffeinated using different processes. If I look at this one, it says the Swiss water process. If I look at this one, it says the Ethyl Acetate decaffeination process. And if I look at this one, it says the CO2 Subcritical decaffeination process. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to taste all of these side by side. And I also might mix in one of my typical home coffees to see how they compare. So I've never done an event like this. So the streaming, it occurs at 3 o'clock, but that's 3 o'clock in the UK. That's going to be 10 a.m. here. So right now it's about 8:30, so I got a little bit of time. I did make myself a coffee to get going with my espresso machine. If you're interested in learning more about the decaffeination process, make sure you check out James Hoffmann channel. So he's got an overview of the project where he talks about the beans, where they got them. Again, like I said, these are all the exact same beans for all of these different processes. And then he goes to 3 different factories for the decaffeination where he gives an overview. Some of them are pretty big and industrial. And then the next step was all of those beans went out to individual roasters. So the specific roaster I got was Campfire Roasting in New Jersey. So I also got a pack of just some regular, their Campfire blend that I'm curious to try. I haven't opened those. These just came the other day. So I don't know where I fit on the realm of regular coffee drinker and extreme coffee nerd. I'm probably a little bit more toward the nerdy side. So I do understand that the origin of beans, the way that they're kind of processed makes a big difference. Then the roasting makes a big difference. Yeah, I'm not really good at describing coffee flavors. It's not something I spend a lot of time doing. I know when I've tried some specialty runs, especially often like Ethiopian ones, which I know there's a range of Ethiopian ones. They tend to be kind of acidic, kind of that fruity flavor. I don't think I like. I mean, I definitely don't like the really burnt, acrid stuff, the stuff you might kind of associate like with Starbucks. They really like to really roast their stuff. I think people think that that makes a good coffee. I kind of go that medium roast, medium dark roast is where I like my coffee. I think notes of kind of chocolate, notes of, like I say, roast, but not acrid. Kind of just a medium level. So I'm kind of curious about this seminar because I think he's going to talk a little bit more about some of the ideas for tasting this. And it'd be interesting to see what notes he picks up in these coffees and how I pick those up. So here behind me is my typical brewing process. I normally make an espresso in the morning. So I have a cheap scale that weighs out to the gram, works pretty good. The specific coffee beans that I use for this espresso are these ones, Mayorga coffee. So I believe they're in Maryland. I got these at Costco. I have mixed feelings about getting beans at Costco. They definitely have a pretty good price. I think these are about a 2-pound. I think these are probably around $15, which normally you're paying, $15 often for a 12 ounce of a specialty coffee. Like I said, I don't know much about how big this roaster is. I assume if they're selling kind of on the East Coast in Costco, they got to be doing quite a bit of quantity. In the back there, I've got a cheaper grinder that I often use if I'm doing a French press. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I got this grinder. It's a SETI 270. I use it, for my espresso, and it's worked well. And for my espresso machine, it's a Gaggia Classic. All right, so right now, I've got a good hour before the stream starts, so I'm gonna do a little bit of prep. I've got my cups here. I'm gonna get some water ready, maybe weigh out the coffee and get that ready. So I'll be ready for the stream when it starts in an hour and a half. So the live stream just started. I have a buddy joining me. Hopefully he's not too much of a distraction. He might really not like hanging out when I start pouring the coffee and stuff. But I got my water heating up. So I just measured out my grain. So looking at the recipe, what I'm following, I'm doing 12 grams of coffee. And then I'm gonna add 200 grams of boiling water into those. So I first measured out my regular and then the Swiss water version. then the ethyl acetate version, and then the CO2 subcritical one. So I also measured out some of that Mayorga. I just figured I'd mix that into the mix here. I was going to use some coffee cups, but then I thought maybe these little canning jars might work a little better, because then we can see the coffee, see the color, so maybe see what is going on. So I did do a run through of a cupping earlier, just because I'd never done it before, and I want to just make sure the volume seemed right and the grind size seemed right. Again, I don't know the grind size is that important. I got it kind of in the medium on my grinder. So I'm going to just go ahead, grind each of these. I'll grind them directly back into the container, so then they'll be all ready to go. Since this one went through earlier, I'll go ahead and start with this. All right, Xander, I'm going to do some grinding. So there we are. So I got the coffee all ground. I have all my little jars of ground coffee. I can hear the water. It sounds like it's getting really close to boiling, and maybe I should have gotten that going a little bit earlier. Next thing to do, and I'm following along, I can see that's where, right about on track with James. I see he's starting to pour his water into the bowl, so that's the next step. Nothing fancy with me. I just got a very simple kettle. I found these can be all the way full. It's about where the 200 grams is going to be. All right, that one's about 190. All right, maybe we're doing 190 grams. So here we are, we're all set. We've got our coffee steeping now. So we started, here's the regular, the non-decaffeinated, so regular coffee. And then one here, we've got the Swiss water. We've got the ethyl acetate version, and the CO2 subcritical one right here. Over here, we've got that kind of regular Mayorga coffee. I don't know if I see really much difference in the appearance. Definitely a very dark brown color. Is the bloom any different? I think, if there's a difference, it's probably just from the way that I poured it. So we're letting these steep for 4 minutes, then we're going to come back, and then we're going to remove whatever coffee's on the top, do a little stir, remove some stuff. All right, see if I do this right, like James said to do. I think he basically said, give it a quick stir, help drop down. And then come back and remove any scum on the top. Let me go ahead and stir them all real quick. Give them a chance to start settling. And once we get these all ready to go, we're supposed to wait for 10 minutes, let them cool down a little bit. Right now, they're just a little hot to be drinking. So we've got a 10-minute break. Looks like James is working. He's got a lot of cups that he's doing because he's got the 4, but then he's got from several different roasters. So the coffee's all ready. We're gonna let it set for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and do some tasting. All right, so now we're back. It's time to start the tasting. Looks like James is a little ahead of me, but let me get into tasting. Basically what we're gonna do, following his advice, just kind of take a little slurp of each of them. I've got there was a score sheet that he had given. Aroma, acidity, sweetness, body, finish. It seemed a little kind of technical and not much room to write. So I just got a piece of paper that I'm going to take some notes on as we go. I'm just going to do maybe one run through and then cycle back and see if I have any thoughts. It'd be kind of interesting to do these, blind. But I think for now, I think we're just going to taste them, knowing which is which. Like, I have no idea. I have no preference about the process for making decaf coffee. I don't really know which one would expect. Swiss water sounds better, more natural than ethyl acetate. CO2 subcritical. I don't know. At least it's not chemical sounding like ethyl acetate. But why would I want to be interested in decaf coffee? I've definitely found if I have a double shot of espresso in the morning and then I have another double shot kind of in the afternoon or just a second one, I do start getting a little jittery. So there are definitely times where maybe I want to make an espresso drink or, it's probably more of an espresso drink. Sometimes I'll have a tea and that's fine. All right, well, let's get into tasting these. I've got some rinse water here. Also have some water, drinking water here if I need that. All right, this one, we're starting off here. This is the regular coffee. Okay. Tastes like a good coffee. It's fairly light, maybe light in body. Seems to, let me stop the timer. First thoughts on the regular one, it just seemed like a good, good cup of coffee. Let's go ahead, Swiss water coffee. This is a decaf. I feel like there's a little bit of a sharpness to that's not in the regular. It's missing a little bit of something, kind of a fullness. Seems like it lingers a little bit on the back end. Again, though, I think it's overall a good tasting coffee. This is the ethyl acetate. That one definitely had a thinness to it. It had a more thin character than I associated with the Swiss water one. Let me go for one more soup. So I see James's taste, and I'm not sure if people are commenting on the video. I'll switch back to that later and see. This is the CO2 Subcritical. Kind of neutral. I felt like maybe a little less flavor than the regular, but I felt like these ones maybe had some kind of lingering harshness to them that I didn't get with the CO2 Subcritical. All right, and then we'll go. This is that Costco brand, Mayorga. All right, that's interesting. Actually has maybe a less flavor than these. I think these ones are a little bit more of a flavorful, just a little bit more neutral, just a little bit kind of mid notes. All right. So I'm not the best at words. I felt like I wrote just kind of a nice, just general coffee flavor. I definitely feel it's got a rich coffee flavor, especially compared to this one. It's flavorful. I don't get anything like off about it. I think I'd be very happy with that coffee. I'm definitely kind of curious how this translates. Flavors here translate to either. Often sometimes I make an Americano or make a French press, but often the espresso is my most common way to make a coffee. All right, so let's go in the Swiss water. So again, it just has a little bit more of a fruity. I'm not sure if that's an acidic note to it. Maybe a little sourness. Yeah, going back and forth. Definitely there's just a little bit more flavor in the regular one here. Ethyl acetate. So it's got some kind of lingering, I'm not sure what it is. A lingering harshness that kind of just sticks with it. It's not bad. I think it's got less of the I definitely the Swiss water one. I get a little bit of that fruity vibes. Ethyl acetate. More neutral. Yeah, and there's definitely some kind of coffee notes that are in this one. Some flavorful that's missing in this one. All right, let's go CO2 Subcritical. Okay. Again, like I think the thoughts I had first time, it's just, you know, kind of a neutral. I don't get this one. There was a little bit of harshness. This one maybe acidity. This one just seems very similar to the regular coffee. So let me do a quick side by side. So I don't think we need to taste any more of the Mayorga one, but so I think my impression of these, right? I think the CO2 Subcritical and the regular one, those both come out very similar. I don't know that I could pick those out blind. Let me go. Yeah, those are just very similar. I think so. I like the regular coffee, and I think the CO2 Subcritical one, really almost the exact same coffee. Again, the sweet Swiss water one, not bad. Just got a little bit of a fruity acidic, but still, I mean, it's as far as decaf coffee goes, it's, you know, probably the best decaf coffee that I can say I've had. The ethyl acetate. Again, not bad. So this has been pretty interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to trying these coffees in different formats. This is probably not the best way to taste a coffee. So I want to just interject here a little bit. So after the tasting, I went ahead, I decanted them all into cups of coffee and tried them blind just to kind of see, and they're definitely getting kind of warm at this point. See if there was anything kind of different. I think I definitely found. I think the ethyl acetate one was maybe a little bit closer to the CO2 than before, but I do think I do like the the CO2 one. That was the one that I picked out as my favorite in the blind. I do think of the three, the one that was, so this is the regular one. The Swiss water one of the three is the one that stands out the most. I think these other ones are extremely close. You know, I would say regular and the CO2 were almost close. There was a little bit of a gap over here to the ethyl acetate one. But then it's just this one stands out. Again, it's not an overly bad coffee taste. You know, and one thing I noticed I didn't do earlier was kind of trying to take in the aroma. Although I found when I was going through these, I mean, again, maybe when they were hotter, you'd get a little bit more. I wasn't getting very little difference. I wasn't getting any, like weird chemically anything in any of the decafs. They all had a nice, coffee smell. So I just thought it was interesting. Again, like it kind of just reinforces a little bit of my initial tasting that I definitely really liked the idea of that CO2 extraction one. Again, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if I can track down some other coffee that's made with this. All right, well, back to the regular scheduled program. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at some decaf coffees. I thought this was really interesting. I would definitely check out James Hoffmann's channel. Check out the videos they did on the decaffeination process and the overview. It might be even worth looking at his tasting. That's a long video, but see what his thoughts were. And he also tasted the different roasters. This one's a medium. Some of them are kind of a light roast. So there may be quite a bit of difference in the way these coffees show with different roasters. So I'm looking forward to trying these in espresso. I'm looking forward to trying them in a French press. I hope you learned something, and hopefully you can look out for some kind of craft roasted decaf coffee, and maybe you could fit that into your coffee schedule. So cheers from Cascade Homebrew. Like I said, my channel is mostly about beer. Maybe I'll do some food or maybe some other coffee related content. But if you're interested in learning more about brewing beer at home, make sure to subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos. Have a great one.